Just to let you know, we're all 17 years old up here. We're grade 12 students, and we just recently learned about the Sustainable Development Goals. And one thing we found very concerning about learning it is that we're just learning it now. And we wanted to know why we were learning it so late and why we weren't a part of these conversations before.
I'm Sean Bernard. I'm 17 years old, and I'm from Waterhen Lake First Nation. I reside in Meadow Lake First Nations, and I'm part of the Cree Nation. Growing up, I've always been a part of a small community, and knowing everyone and everyone around me and just being used to the normal here. As I grew up more, I always thought that there's something bigger out there, and I always thought, what does it take for a kid from a small town to do something bigger than the small town that they might think they're confined in? With myself, I grew up very introverted. I grew up very not sure of what I was doing with myself. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what resources there were out there for me. I didn't really know my identity. And taking that all in, I was very confused. But after looking at myself and confining with who I am, I realized that I should start looking into my Indigenous perspective, my Indigenous community, and go back to my community roots. That's where I found my pride. That's where I found my own voice, and that's how I found my identity. I found out that even though I'm from a small town, even though I feel like I'm enclosed in this community and that I didn't really get the experience of others, that I can create those experiences. That's one thing I take pride in, into doing these talks and talking to others and trying to be this influence.
And we're hoping to share these stories, to find other people, to hold them accountable, to teach other people like us children, and to speak to other younger generations. And I think us presenting and doing this to other kids and children, this will help them have that understanding of what's going on.
COP27, I was able to go talk to my community. I was able to talk to the people inside my community and ask questions that I felt like I needed to bring their perspective as well, that I couldn't just go speak on behalf of everyone else. One thing that really stuck with me was that one of my elders from my community told me that the relationship we have with the land, our culture, was slowly dying, that we didn't have that relationship that we once used to have with Mother Earth. And that was alarming to me to hear, and it stuck with me because the land is the biggest part of our culture. And the culture that I found my identity within was saying that we were losing that relationship. COP27 was this big challenge that I felt like I had to face, that going out across seas and to be able to be a part of something bigger was something I needed to do. It took work. It didn't just naturally come to me. It didn't just show up in me and to just go out across the world to go speak to other people. Going to COP27 and doing all the researching and all the practices, we had to be a part of Zoom calls and online calls, collaborating with each other from different youth around the world. And this is where I started to learn more things, and I realized that I had stuff to teach to other people that I didn't know I had to teach. And these people I was worried to meet. I was still thinking that a child would not be taken serious in such a big environment and such big high-level people, but meeting these kids, I realized that we had something to say and that we were all passionate about the same thing at that point, that we were bringing our voice, and that's what they wanted to do. And that's what I've been working on for the longest time. After I met them, it became something so comfortable, something that we had to share with, we had a connection, even though we're all from different places, that we all wanted to share our voice and that we all wanted to share our stories. Collaborating with these people, we wrote a Child Manifesto. This Child Manifesto was something that we molded together to be able to bring our voices together and to be our structure point in these conversations and in these presentations. With COP27, all these youth were going to be flown out to Sharm el-Sheikh to represent either their countries or continents and to showcase their youth voice, their children voices there. And that's something that I realized that we had to take pride in, that we were children going out there and to be speaking on behalf of our countries, that we had a different voice and that we had a strong voice to be a part of. 5 students from our group were able to go and to do our presentation from the Child Manifesto. And me from northern Saskatchewan, a small community, was one of those students that got to go. I got to represent Canada, someone that I didn't think I had a big voice in, but then I was learning that I had that voice. Sometimes you can't just throw yourself into something that you think that you can just go do. It takes time to get there. I think that every kid can do this, and every kid can go out and do big things, such as I thought as a younger kid. And I proved myself wrong saying that I couldn't do it. Then I started doing stuff that I would have never thought that I could do. Even though I'm not somebody that's old and an adult, I realized that I still was able to make a change.